Movies allow us to go anywhere we want and escape from everyday life that has had the biggest impact on everyday life. Today, technology has taken us to places unimaginable in film. Movies have been changed forever by these advancements, and they have adapted well to the times changing with new and social media. No genre understands this better than horror. Found footage and other modern-day filming techniques have opened up doors for new stories to be told. However, before we see what's new, we must first go back and see how we got here. The 1897 silent film Manor of the Devil or The Haunted Castle is said to be the one that kicked everything off for horror. The film tells the story of a brief encounter between the devil and other various lurky characters. Once sound was introduced, the experience began to take on a different persona. These tales had a creepy soundtrack and loud noise that made for some big scares at the time. Now that movies gained a voice on screen, it was time for them to gain one by creating new stories to tell. A new wave of monsters was on its way in, and audiences were also about to witness new styles of horror that were coming as well. In 1942, the first psychological horror was released. Cat People brought new techniques that made it scary, including the Luton bus, which is still used in film today. The genre then began to turn more towards science fiction. Monsters were now created in labs, and invaders from other planets were creeping. In the 60s, we were introduced to the thriller. Ordinary people had replaced or now took on the role of the monster in the movie.
Sally, I hear something.
However,
Stop!
it wasn't until the 1970s when people really started getting the shit scared out of them. Starting with the extremely low-budgeted Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 1974, there was nowhere for people to run. Literally. Others would take note and help the slasher be born. Computers and other new technology were beginning to make their way to the big screen and played more prominent roles. It was a chance to modernize the film for audiences to better relate to. None, though, would ever do what one film in 1999 did. The Blair Witch Project is responsible for bringing the found footage phenomena into film. As revolutionary as this terrifying tale was, it borrowed its inspiration from the Italian Mondo genre, specifically Cannibal Holocaust, a found footage movie about a documentary crew that is eaten by members of an indigenous tribe.
I can't understand the reason for such cruelty.
Not only was Blair Witch different, but it was also one of the first movies to gain a big online presence because of how authentic the film felt. Now Hollywood had a new feature to incorporate into plots: the internet.
What the fuck is the internet?
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Movies of computer stalkers and deaths involving technology made the possibility of a killer being unstoppable even scarier. It created a fear that anyone could terrorize you anonymously. This realization also added fears that affected people on a personal level. Today, films manage to incorporate technology into their plots, and it has made for some and some not so realistic scares. Hollywood has managed to take the devices that comfort and help us in our everyday lives and turn them against us. That thought intrigues people regardless if they may not like a movie or not. It's for this reason, even outside of horror, directors are starting to incorporate this more into films. Paranormal Activity is a great example of how new media benefited a movie. Filmed in only 10 days back in 2007, the original Paranormal Activity was budgeted at only $15,000. It would go on to gross almost $1 billion worldwide. The studio launched a campaign with the Eventful feature developed by a San Diego company known for promoting concerts. With its internet feature called Demand It, Paramount asked users to help determine the film's fate and see if it was worthy of a potential wide release in additional markets. After 1 million fans demanded to see it, the film was expanded to 160 screens and grossed $7.9 million in box office revenue. It went on to become a surprise box office hit, due in part to social networking sites like Twitter who promoted the film. To date, it has almost a 720,000% return on its investment and was followed by 5 more installments over the last 10 years. Whether it's love or fear, movies continue to strike our personal chords. And just as we grow with time, film grows with us. The horror genre understands you cannot ignore new media because it's part of our everyday life. It's for this reason not only did they stay relevant, but they inspire other filmmakers to think outside the box as well.